Hi, and welcome back to DIY Bath, Body, and Home. In this episode, I'll be showing you one of my very favorite projects, which is natural whipped body butter. I think you'll find that once you start making this, it'll be in very high demand. You can get everything you need for this project at Glory Bee, and I'll be providing their contact info at the end of the video. The first thing you're going to need for this project is a digital scale. Glory Bee carries this great one. It's important to have one that measures in both grams and ounces, and it's also important to have one that has a tare button. That means you can zero out the amount on the scale after you add your container or ingredients, so you can keep careful track of how much you're adding of each thing. So you're going to place your mixing container on the scale, then you'll hit the tare button so that the display on the scale reads 0. And the first ingredient you'll add will be 260 grams of distilled water. Just keep a careful eye on the scale display to make sure you're not adding too much. I did add a little more than I need, so just return it. Okay, got the distilled water. The next ingredient is going to be organic coconut oil. This oil comes in solid form, as you can see. It's a very moisturizing, good for your skin type of oil. And we're going to be adding 44 grams of this. Oh, don't forget to hit your tare button. So you're back to 0. Just add it spoonful by spoonful until you see that you've got 44 grams. Okay, so I'm all set with the coconut oil. And I'll hit my tare button again. With this scale, you hit the tare button twice and then it goes back to 0. So as long as it's on 0, you're in good shape. The next ingredient is sweet almond oil. Another real nice skin-loving oil. And you'll add 64 grams of this. Okay, perfect. We've got 64 grams of the sweet almond oil. We'll zero out our scale. The next thing you're going to add is going to be emulsifying wax. This is a great vegetable-based product that binds together the oil and water. That's what keeps a lotion in that nice creamy state and not separated oil and water. We're going to add 34 grams of this. The next ingredient is stearic acid. It's a thickener and binder for your body butter. Just a little bit of this, just 8 grams. Oh, zero out your scale. So just 8 grams. And the next delicious ingredient is cocoa butter. Now this comes in a pretty solid form, so I've kind of poked at it with a knife to get some smaller chunks. You're going to zero out your container and add 14 grams of cocoa butter. It smells delicious, just like a bar of chocolate. Okay, I've got my cocoa butter. So as you can see, I've got several ingredients here that are in solid form. So what I'm going to do next is melt these ingredients in a double boiler. I use a canning jar lid or canning jar ring in a pan of water, and that just lifts my mixing container up off the direct heat. So this will take about 10 or 15 minutes for all the ingredients to melt, and you'll just stir it, keep an eye on it. Don't want to burn it or anything. I'm melting it over about a medium heat. Okay, now that all the ingredients are completely melted, as you can see, they're all liquid. You'll remove it from the heat. You want to wait for it to cool down to about room temperature before you add the rest of the ingredients and do the final steps. You can place it in a pan of cold water, or you can put it in the refrigerator for a little while and wait for it to cool. Okay, now that your ingredients have cooled down to about room temperature, it's time to add the remaining ingredients. So you'll return your mixing container to the scale, not forgetting to zero it out. You're going to add your preservative. Whenever you make a mixture that contains oil and water, there's a chance that that mixture could go bad. So it's best to add a preservative. This is rosemary extract. It's a very natural preservative. It's actually not a technical preservative. It's an antioxidant, which inhibits the growth of mold and things like that you don't want in your cream. So I'm going to add 6 grams of rosemary extract. I'll talk a little bit about preservatives in my upcoming tutorial on them, so stay tuned for that. So you'll mix the rosemary extract in, and your final ingredients are going to be your essential oils. I'm going to make a lemon nutmeg blend for this project. So I'll add a teaspoon of lemon essential oil. And just a tiny little dash, tiny little dash of sweet orange, just for some added variety. And then the nutmeg is pretty strong, so I'm just going to add a hint of that. So I'll mix that in. It smells really nice, like some lemon meringue. And the final step in this process is to whip the body butter. I take a regular hand mixer, and you're going to end up mixing it for about 5 minutes. You start out on a low speed and then gradually increase it to the top speed. Okay, now as you can see, I've whipped the body butter to a nice thick meringue-like consistency. One final touch I'm going to add is a little bit of gold mica. This is a natural glitter / colorant made from minerals. Nothing fake or synthetic about this. So this is kind of just to taste. I'm just going to dump in a little bit there. That'll just give the body butter some sparkle. Okay, so you've added your final ingredient, the mica. I should mention that since you've used a natural preservative, you'll want to make sure this is used up within about a month. If you can keep it in the fridge between uses, so much the better. If you want to make your body butter last longer, Glory Bee also carries a synthetic preservative called Germaben 2. That'll make it last quite a bit longer, but it's not as natural. Also, I wanted to mention the reason we didn't add these last ingredients, the preservative and the essential oils, before we removed the body butter from the heat is because the heat can cause those items to dissipate. So the preservative wouldn't work as well and the essential oils would end up not smelling as strong. So your final step is going to be pouring this in your containers. I like to use these little 4.5 ounce hex jars. They're a nice size to give to your friends and they'll get used up more quickly than a bigger jar. So you can see this is real thick. Just fill it up to the brim there. If you spill some, you can just rub it into your skin and feel how nice and moisturizing that is. Put the lid on and it's all ready for you to decorate. I like to put mine in the fridge overnight just so it sets up and gets nice and firm. So now you know how to make a wonderful natural whipped body butter. I doubt you'll ever buy lotion at the store again once you try this. Again, you can get everything for this project at Glory Bee. You can reach their friendly natural product sales department at 1-800-456-7923, or you can visit them online at glorybeefoods.com. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of DIY Bath, Body, and Home, and we'll see you next time.